So, summer is a time for reading. And one of the wonderful things about summer reading is that it doesn't just have to be the latest novel that everybody's talking about. Because this is a channel dedicated to talking about poetry, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the summer poetry I'm going to be reading and recommend it to you. So, one of the things I like to make sure I'm doing when I pick new poetry to read is that I'm kind of keeping up with the best that's being published, but also looking to the past and remembering poetry isn't just the things that have come out in the last few months or even the last few years or even the last few centuries. As you know, I like thinking about the very oldest poetry. I talked a little bit about Enheduanna and her poems from thousands and thousands of years ago, even thousands of years before the ancient Romans lived. So what am I going to be reading this summer? Well, this summer I really do want to look at Enheduanna's poetry. A new collection of her poems just came out. Of course, they're very old poems, but a new translation by Sophus Helle. And I'm going to check those out. But I'm also going to be reading some new poetry, and I want to recommend 3 new collections of poems that I've dipped my toes into just a little bit, and I'm looking forward to digging into more over the summer. So the first of these is by Phillips. Now, Phillips just won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry, which means his collection was awarded basically the best American collection of poems published in the last 12 months. This collection is called Then the War. It's new and selected poems. And it ranges from poetry that he published from 2007 to 2020. The first section is dedicated to brand new poetry, and then there are some selections from previous poetry collections. Phillips is an important poet. He's one who definitely kind of toes this line between formalism and more free verse poetry, and I've enjoyed looking at some of his new poetry in the collection, and I want to check more of it out. The second poet, who maybe is the poet I'm most excited about reading any new work that she does, is A.E. Stallings. A.E. Stallings just came out with her selected poems called This Afterlife. It has some poetry that hasn't appeared in previous collections, some poems that she's published in periodicals that aren't collected. So it feels like there's some new poems, but also there's a generous selection from her really great last few collections, including Like, which almost won the Pulitzer a year or 2 ago. And then finally, there's an Italian-American poet, Andrew Frisardi, who I've been enjoying his work for the last few years, and he just came out with a new collection with Wiseblood books called The Moon on Elba. Very beautiful formalist poetry, similar to Stallings. Frisardi plays a lot with rhythm and meter and rhyme. So, Enheduanna, Phillips, A.E. Stallings, and Andrew Frisardi are 4 of the poets I'm going to be digging into this summer on vacation. What are you going to read? What interests you? What new poets are you excited about checking out? What old poets are you dipping back into? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much. Have a great summer.